She picked up the letter again. She must have read it 20 times already. What did it mean? It was addressed to her, the information was about her, but it didn't mean anything. How could it? She felt perfectly well, but there it was, she read it again. They'd done these tests and these were the results. They'd copied the letter to a doctor. Why hadn't the doctor phoned? You shouldn't get that kind of news by letter, so perhaps it was a mistake. She phoned the surgery, perhaps the doctor would say, "No, I've not received anything about this," and it would prove to some bureaucratic error. These things happened. But the wording was so stark and official, she couldn't decide if it had made more or less likely a mistake. The letter had been sent to the wrong person, or shouldn't have been sent at all. Jim was at the pub. She'd not mentioned it to him over tea. He'd gone out, probably thinking she was being a bit quiet, a bit distant. She'd tell him when she came back, if he wasn't too drunk, or in the morning. Maybe she'd phone the surgery first to make sure there hadn't been a mistake. At 10 o'clock, Jim still wasn't in. She put on the television for the news, and the main story was about a factory building in Bangladesh that had collapsed, killing hundreds of workers. For days, rescuers had been finding survivors buried in the wreckage, but they'd given up now, and even though many people were still missing, cranes and diggers had all been moved in and started pulling the rest of the building down. 8 stories full of businesses making cheap clothes. Thousands of people had worked in there. The footage showed of the mass grey concrete blocks, rubble, metal, cables, dotted with bright colours where bits of fabric were caught in the ruins. She saw a crane bringing down part of the building like a landslide, and thought of all those missing people, their bodies being rolled and crushed and broken all over again like dolls. She couldn't bear to look. She switched off.